What does it say about Barack Obama that it takes two of you to beat him?
That's just debate too. Jesse Jackson won South Carolina twice, in '84 and '88. And he ran a good campaign, and Senator Obama's run a good campaign. He's run a good campaign everywhere. He's a good candidate with a good organization.
There's a professor at University of Maryland made this observation the other day. The only way that Obama is going to be elected is to try to neutralize race. And when you're talking about Bill Clinton and so far as they try to blacken Barack Obama, what they do is play on the divisiveness of the racial sector. The objective of the Clinton campaign is to make him blacker, which is to call out his blackness and therefore to complicate his constituency, which is predominantly white.
Here's the story. Obama has lost half his white support in South Carolina in the past week. And he's lost it because there is a campaign underway by the Clintons to paint him as the black candidate. Robert Reich, his former labor secretary, said it today. He said Clinton is injecting race into this race, and that's true. And it's hurt Obama among whites and Latinos.
And then Bob Herbert, Maureen, of your paper, weighed in with these very powerful, forceful words. It's legitimate to ask, given the destructive developments of the last few weeks, whether the Clintons are capable of being anything but divisive. The electorate seems more polarized now than it was just a few weeks ago, and the Clintons have seemed positively gleeful in that atmosphere. It makes one wonder whether they have any understanding or regard for the corrosive long-term effects on their party and the nation of pitting people bitterly and unnecessarily against one another. What kind of people are the Clintons?
It seems to me the dispiriting thing to someone like me, and I'm a white guy, you're both African Americans, but look at these numbers coming out of South Carolina tonight. They're dispiriting just because it shows polarization again. A while ago, Obama was getting about 20% of the black vote. He's now, here it is, beating Hillary in the black vote by 30%. But Hillary wins in the white vote. What's going on right now, to make it simple, is that the vote on the white side is going to Hillary and Edwards, and the vote on the black side is going increasingly to Obama. What we hoped this campaign would be is something that was a bit more open, that the old line of division was gone. It seems like it's been rebuilt, where people are voting white or voting black.
So let me be clear on this. Obama was a colorless candidate in Iowa. Iowa voted for Obama because of his issues. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton played the race card in the South. They took him from a guy who wasn't black enough to being a black candidate. If Hillary Clinton gets the nomination in the general election, African Americans will stay home. Robert Johnson was used to play the race card for Hillary Clinton. What has happened? What made the change? The change is Hillary and Bill used the race card to marginalize Obama. And I can guarantee you this one fact. If he wins in South Carolina, that's because he's black. And they have created wedge issues between blacks and whites, and more importantly, between blacks and Hispanic. The Mr. Black President, Bill Clinton, used a race card against a black candidate, and the blacks will not forget this in November.
I'm not sure it's really worth discussing whether or not Bill Clinton was the first black president. I know, Roland, you strongly disagree.
Toni Morrison, you owe black America an absolute apology. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Because if Bill Clinton was a black president, he wouldn't have thrown Monty Guinier under the bus, his so-called friend. If he was the first black president, he wouldn't have let 400,000 people in Rwanda die if he was so-called the first black president. But he
also, just for accuracy, it's 800,000.
The first black president, Clinton legacy of lynching update. Buy me a tea. It may be true that the law cannot make a man love me, but it can keep him from lynching me, and I think that's pretty important. Ironically, the logic of this pronouncement by Martin Luther King would, in short order, be refuted by the reality of his own lynching. King's hope was misplaced and his reasoning was circular. The resultant rule of law relied on by King presumed an adherence to the rule of law in the first instance. Adherence to the rule of law is not something normally associated with the Clintons. Moreover, racial and ethnic disrespect, intimidation, exploitation and hate have always been a fundamental Clinton tactic, and the reflexive use of the N-word and other racial and ethnic slurs, an essential element in the Clinton lexicon. When the first black president and his wife ran Arkansas, the NAACP sued them for intimidating black voters at the polls. Conversely, the Clintons' refinement of the DNC drag and drop is, arguably, one of the more insidious and repugnant applications of their special brand of race-hate politics. Calculating a black man's worth to be 5/3 of a vote is no less racist, and arguably more so, than calculating his worth to be 3/5 of a white man. The latter is demeaning, but the former is dehumanizing. But it is even worse. Listen to Randall Robinson in this video, read below about Rwanda. Only one conclusion is possible, a Clinton legacy of lynching. Bill Clinton felt their pain. Retrospectively, in 1998, on his grand apology tour of Africa, a whirlwind tour of whirlwind apologies for slavery, the Cold War, you name it, he touched down in Kigali and apologized for the Rwandan genocide, biting his lip, as is his wont. During the bloodbath, Clinton administration officials were specifically instructed not to use the word genocide, lest it provoke public pressure to do something. Documents made public last week confirmed that U.S. officials knew within the first few days that a final solution to eliminate all Tutsis was underway. Stein on America.
Well, rather than go through the specific thing that Bill and Hillary have done, or their surrogates have done, just look at the fact that before Obama won Iowa, race was totally absent in this contest. Nobody talked about it. There was no polarization based on it. Since Obama won that contest, the only thing we've heard talk about is race. No more change, no more experience, just race. And it has polarized. Blacks are now voting for Obama by 67-16, and whites are now voting for Clinton by 42-20-something. I think that's a conscious strategy on the part of the Clintons. I think they know that when there's a serious chance of a black getting elected, that the black vote is going to go en masse to the African American candidate, and they know that to win, they need to provoke a white backlash.
100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination.
My guess is that what they're going to do is they are going to play the race card, but they're going to do it in a very subtle way.
They say to themselves, okay, I have a choice between a truly inspirational speaker who has not done the kind of spade work
Give me a break. This whole thing is the biggest fairy tale I've ever seen.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.